right, so I want to thank everybody for joining me on. I like to call the show Reel Raw and Relatable, when I get everybody around a round table discussion and we talk about anything from entertainment, social events, and anything that's within the Black community. So I want to thank everybody again for coming around. What we're going to do real quick is go around the table and have an introduction of everybody, because I know we're all creatives, but specify what's your main craft here in LA. We'll start with who wants to go first?
Okay. So I'm Raida. I moved to LA to get into plus size modeling, acting, and I also just finished my first book. So.
Oh, good. Okay. What's the name of the book?
Okay, sorry.
Well, you can't.
Yeah.
Cool, no problem.
I am Jay, and I do a lot of things. I am a songwriter, I'm a vocal coach, I'm a voice actor. What else I be doing? I just started a podcast called Blue, so y'all go check that out as well. And yeah, it was a lot of things. Anything dealing with voice, I'm your person.
So you can teach me how to sing.
I can teach you how to sing. I got you.
I need a coach.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm Marcel, and I just asked. So I have no extra stuff. I just got out to LA about a month ago. So.
Welcome. Right.
I should have known that since we've been talking about this before. That's sad. You should have learned that. Awesome. Welcome. To me. Hi y'all, my name is Jennifer Marie, aka Jen Marie. I have a podcast, Girl Talk with Jen Marie. It's Girl Talk with Wise Men is Listening. And I also act and I produce. I do stand-up comedy. I coach kids. I can't sing. But yeah, for real. I'm like, I can perform, but I'm not a singer, but I can be if you teach me. Other than that, a creative all around, and happy to be here.
Thank you. As you guys know, I'm Raida Raw. I'm the host of this show, and I like to call myself a vlogger, content creator, actor, hip hop artist. Even though that talent is sporadic, at this point in my life, but those are all my talents. But what brought us around here to this table talk right today is P Valley. So,
phenomenal show.
So P Valley, has been out since 2020, as you guys know, and this past season, we're on the second season of P Valley, but this year has caused a lot more ruckus than before. But before we get into the most controversial part of P Valley, my first question is to everybody around here: what parts of the actual show do you find relatable with your own life, and why?
I feel like I can relate to Mercedes and her mom situation. My mom and I love my mother, but my mom and I, we do sometimes butt heads. I did not have a child or anything, but just that relationship and being able to see that in how she, except for that recent episode, that kind of switched me. Because with the most recent episode, they was in a diner and she was telling her but she was telling her to go, make this money so we could pay for this meal, and that's not something my mother would do.
That was crazy.
That was very great, and then she beat her for it, but
in the living room
manipulation. I'm like, so you want me to go do this, or you don't want me to go do this? Right. And so just that whole aspect of that, I can relate with her.
I love the whole little murder everything. Because I guess I am a queer person, and then as a queer person that is masculine presented, and then also a queer person that's masculine presented and dates exclusively feminine presenting queer people. It's like, I ain't no hood nigga, but I see myself, you know what I mean? So I see myself in that situation, and I love that his character essentially is kind of painting more of a reality of queer people, it's queer don't just look one way.
Right.
And so he is putting it in the faces of the world essentially that it ain't got nothing to do with presentation. It's just queer is just queer. You know what I mean? So I'm loving that aspect of it. So I really, For
me, I think I got two characters. I didn't have a little piece of each. Little Murder and Miss Mississippi. You know, that hunger to want to succeed and be successful, also trying to balance your home life out at the same time. Like that's what I think relates to me. Like I want to be successful in acting. I've been pushing back my career for my whole life to just take care of my family, but now I feel like it's my time now. I feel like I'm about to. Yeah, I'm ready to do what I gotta do. Yeah. So,
that's good. Interesting enough, that's a great question because I was trying to figure out who is my person. Maybe this is because I've seen the fullness of this last episode, the finale, and I think I relate best to Uncle Clifford because two things. Number one, I lost my dad early, so all I had was my mom left, and so I'm very attached to my mother. And my mama is also very funny, like Mr. Christine. So she is literally like my best friend, and I'm terrified always that anything would ever happen. Just like most people with their moms, when you have that kind of relationship. That's a big chunk of why. But the other part about it is simply when we learned the final finale, you know, how Murder told her, like, you are just afraid to let somebody love you, and you don't think you, and I think, you know, as I think about therapy sessions that I've had, some of it is that why I am the way I am, if I'm being honest. And I also like keep a guard up a lot so that I don't get played. And it's like there's a whole, this is way more transparent than I planned on being, but that is, I think, where my my lifestyle, the way I live, like I don't think about to do this to me and blah blah blah. I always got I got a team. Like normally, and it's never, even the good guys got the bad end of the stick. And that's where I feel like with their circumstance, Murder and Uncle Clifford, that's the most relatable. I was like, damn, I be doing that. You know what I mean? Like, this person is just trying to be that person for you, cooking and doing all this stuff, and you just keep putting them away. It's like, damn.
I've learned about that particular thing because I'm on this big, I recently got out of a relationship and I'm on this big like self-love journey, and the thing I learned about is like because I'm that person. I'm very good. I think it's like with love and self-love, I think that people like us, we identify self-love as boundaries, but we neglect the whole aspect of the softness that comes along with love, and we don't give that to ourselves. We freely give it to others and the people that are close to us.
Yes.
But we don't give that to ourselves, and people are just gonna mirror how we love ourselves. So I'm learning that, like, if you give that softness to yourself, it'll help to deal with just that wall. Because me and a wall. I can put a wall up with the bench.
You have to also allow yourself to let go because you're living in the past of what has, you know, held you back, and if you don't move past that, then you'll still continue to deal with these same situations.
I agree. I mean, learning how to love. I mean, like, I'm from the hood, so you know your love is like, you know, you gotta be hard, little nigga. You know what I mean? Like that's how I grew up loving. You know, so it's even hard with my wife. You know, so trying to love her sometimes. You know, because I wasn't raised with hugs and kisses. You know, I was raised with being punched and okay, like I guess that's love. You know, but so I mean, you have to work on how to love somebody else. If you don't, you know, it's all work.
Man, all your stories like kind of resonate with me too. But I think the one person that, and this is probably surprising to some of you, like, but the one person I relate to in the series is Uncle Clifford, not in the sense of attraction or anything like that, but in the sense of like, you know, people pleasing, always trying to, like, Uncle Clifford was, you know, people pleasing like for everybody, like, you know, the girls, like putting everybody before himself, you know, in the series. And I was just like, you know, that's me. And the more the other side of where I relate to that is also with back in like my early 20s, I was a strip club promoter, so it's just like, I know. I used to be a strip club promoter, so
I found out one day in a car ride. So that's why I didn't jump. But I would have been there. I didn't hear. Like, oh, okay. Little pimple right in there.
Was it for men or women?
for women.
Okay.
But so when I was doing that, you know, the lines get blurred between business and personal, like, because it's like you're a promoter, you know, like a lot of girls would, like, you know, throw themselves at you, have, like, you know, and also, like, you become, you know, somebody who's giving advice because, so, like, somebody comes in, had a rough day, and you become somebody's counselor and everything like that. So that's in that aspect, that's how I resonate with Uncle Clifford a lot, and also the whole theme of the show, because it's like, you know, a lot of people think that, you know, a lot of these dancers want this kind of lifestyle, and some of them do, but but a lot of times this is like they need quick money and a lot of quick money fast. You know what I'm saying? So it's like and then when they get addicted to that lifestyle, or that's the way they're earning money, it's hard for them to transition into another, like, source of income, like a 9-to-5 or something like that. So,
but I think that's anybody, any role.
right, exactly, yeah. Like somebody who, you know, starts off 19, self-employed, it's hard for them to transition into, you know, a work life, you know, a 9-to-5 life, you know. So
yeah, you make more money than a 9-to-5.
Make that transition.
So my next question though is, as creatives, what was the scene or situation that tugged on your heartstrings the most? Any scene except for the suicide.
Alright. So yeah, the scene this last episode just messed with me. The whole portrayal of the stepmom for Miss Mississippi, that just was like, it was like I was heartbroken. I'm like, I know it's a fake show, but it was just like, gosh, how could they, you know, be so cruel with that?
Right.
Like, so she was on her way to have happiness, and just heartbroken, and now she's in jail. So it just happened that fast. Like, you know, it just flipped so fast like that. I mean, that's the most recent heartbreak, but that's gonna it's just playing on my mind. Like, I gotta watch it over just because of that scene.
Right.
I just can't believe it. Like, you know.
Yeah, like somebody would actually do that.
Yeah.
Like, and you also wonder why, like, you know, why is she so resentful towards her? You know, in there. You know, I mean,
where's her dad? You
right,
know,
exactly.
Like, this lady is just run shot for your daughter, and like.
Right, exactly.
Like, no.
Exactly.
I have daughters, you know. I'm like, I couldn't do that.
Right.
You're a good dad.
I don't even know what parts of it I would say, or one sole thing that plays tugs on my heartstrings. I think that anytime I watch Uncle Clifford and Little Murder's interactions, they always make me be like, oh, you know, because it's just like, I love, like, it's one of those situations where, like, it's like they love each other but they don't want to, like, it's it's combating between the loving and the world and all the things. That's always, like, does it for me. But yeah, I can't even think of one moment. Just any of their interactions where they're just, like, extremely vulnerable just kind of does it for me.
I feel it.
Yeah, I think mine, those are close. Because those turn me in more ways than one, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. But one of my main moments, also, because she did such an incredible job playing Miss Mississippi, but the worst one for me, or tugged the most, where my stomach was hurting, and that was the time he had beat her up in the kitchen and brought that iron out like he was about to hit her face with it, and she was like, you can do anything else, please just don't mess my face up.
Yeah.
When I tell you that I wanted to hop through that TV,
And then when the
like,
baby had the gosh,
and
I just want to whoop this dude.
It's like I want to fight him. I might on sight. Like if I see him, I know he's a character. Like, bro, damn, this what you getting so good. But it was like that moment in knowing women who have been abused and stuff. And it's like I'm not a person who's had to deal with that, but I've been around people who have, and just understanding that it's not just always, just get up and leave type stuff. And he's like crazy for real. So he was doing stuff to genuinely keep her from getting away. And as we saw, like he just described, she didn't really have nobody to have her back like that. And then the people she did, low key, they felt like she betrayed them by the stuff that happened during murder night. So that moment of just, and her knowing that her, not that any woman's face is their way to get out of everything, but we know they looked at her for being a beautiful, bad dime piece just every time. And I was so glad. I know the show could have did whatever, but I was just like, no,
I was glad.
This would have been too much.
Yeah, that would have been too much for me.
And then growing up in high school, people didn't even think she was beautiful.
Right.
Yeah.
That was
the irony and all of it. Yeah,
so now she's the most beautiful girl, and then in high school, she, you know what I mean?
She could have went for losing, basically.
And that's another way I relate, because, you know, I didn't have no girlfriend in high school, but when I got older, like, you know, I didn't know how to handle myself because I couldn't keep moving.
You're right.
Not to vote to my own horn, but that's how I was. Like, I'm like, what the hell happened? Like, but I ain't complaining. Like, I ain't complaining, but what happened?
Tell me what.
So I think the part for me definitely was this last episode, because I think it was when she came in the house and he said, the officer said Mrs. Harris, and he said, no, she's Miss. And then he pretty much made her go down for something that he did. Right. And so I resonated with that because I had a low-key domestic situation, and he would manipulate the situation so bad to other people and make it seem like I was this delusional person and I was this and I was that, and then he ended up doing something else that got himself in some trouble. But before that, it was a lot of just like manipulation and how, even in front of police officers, will lie and stuff. And so when I watched that, it triggered me like, ooh.
And she always was protecting him. It drives me crazy.
Yeah. She ain't gonna lie.
She protected him to the end. Now she realized he never really loved her.
That's why that justification.
I wouldn't even say that he never really loved her.
He did not.
I think that he saw that he could manipulate her.
That's it.
Jump. Yeah.
But even with that doesn't necessarily mean that someone doesn't love you. It's just that manipulation. They just want that power. But it also stems from
his dad.
I was just gonna say for him, he did love her. Now I will say this: in his version of love, he did love her. You nailed it when you talked about how, not to say that you see it that way, but in reality, psychologically, how it goes for most people is you do the love that was done to you. That's why you just said about somebody hitting you, and you was like, you are special. And I'm sorry, this is so digressing, but because you decided to figure out how to love the person that God gave you, and saying this. I know I didn't feel like this was love, even though they were saying this. And how do you want me to be loving you, or how are you work this out with your wife? Because it is different for everybody, and like our circumstance is similar. And it's like, I know what love is because I had a healthy relationship with my dad, like you probably are with yours. I didn't have to go through domestic things, but I also saw my dad not be a good husband. So then it was like, I ain't about to get played like that. So there's my guard for that. Everybody's version of love looks different. I know love ain't getting hit on. Love's not a guy manipulating you into thinking something's wrong with you, or that if you did this to me. So I think he did think that he was loving her.
Yeah.
And he just needs to fix himself. And he said that so many times too.
When you saw them in high school, that's what showed you that he loved him. If you never saw that episode, then I would give you that. But because of that, he loved that girl from the moment he saw her.
What was the first moment where he started acting crazy? I think it was
when she got pregnant. When she had gotten pregnant by him. Yeah, because his family rejected him, and he blamed her for it.
Because she. You know,
that
was that Cinderella episode, and then that's the first time we also saw that her mother would.
Her stepmom.
Her stepmom.
That irks me. That pissed me off because I'm like, your daddy should have your back.
Like he just said,
it shouldn't be nothing. Like she shouldn't have nothing. It's like, move your ass out of the way, let my daughter in this house. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so that did piss me off.
But you noticed how the daddy was low key acting with the mom.
With the daughter.
He's doing some, I don't know.
I feel like he was molesting her.
So that's my point. So it's like, that's the type of daddy he was. But it was like, That's why, I mean,
He wasn't doing it to his own child.
No, but that's my point. He's a man that would do that to any young lady. Like, at the end of the day.
Wait, that was that.
trash.
I thought that she was his daughter.
No,
No,
Oh,
stepdaughter.
his stepdaughter.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's how they
Okay.
portray.
But I think that's the reason why the wife
Hates
the other,
Right.
because it's like, you know, you're treating my daughter like
This and she's not. Oh, okay. I didn't even see.
And remember the mama
situation.
situation. So you know how some of the mamas be acting whenever the other kid comes into play, and they don't really like the stepchild because of the baby mama dramas and all that. That dynamic was going on there too,
Right,
and
exactly.
it's like that's what I felt like we seen a full circle of when she did what she did, just out of straight up cruelty to Miss Mississippi. Because I was like, wow, like she did that because she's a hateful person.
Oh, yeah.
I just feel like I think that she very much so. She knows I don't want to say she feels stuck, but she knows for a fact that she's in a fucked up situation. However, I feel like he's probably the money source. And she's not willing to abandon the lifestyle that she has come to. Because even remember that time when she was young and Mississippi when Mississippi was young, she came in the house and she's like, you know, be leery of being a man's Barbie doll.
Yeah,
Because
she
always
said
get a
it.
new
That's right.
Yeah, so it's like
told
she knows the life she's in, and she just projecting the fucked up shit onto everybody else. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I want to say the part that did tug on my heartstrings was this last recent episode, because I've been wanting this whole season for Mercedes to get her daughter.
Yeah.
Like, so when and plus, and within that scene, you saw that everybody evolved. Like the mom evolved, Mercedes evolved, and even the daughter. But the daughter's evolution was more so within the abortion.
Yeah.
You know, making a decision to have the abortion. But to see the mom and the Mercedes and Bishop Pastor Woodbine, Mayor Bishop Woodbine, to see her evolve as well.
She's so funny.
She is hilarious.
Whenever she was in that office, they had the pictures up still, and she saw, and I knew she walking through the office, she was like, and then they had her do one of these numbers and fall. I said, oh my God, it was just perfect directing. That was hilarious.
I actually felt like, dang, how did they get her to do that so well when she fell back in the chair?
It was so good.
Years of acting.
right.
She's so good. She's so good. Her character is like awesome.
But yeah, I was really rooting for Mercedes to get her daughter, and like just to finally see that happen. But I want to see, you know, it's already leading up to season 3 where like you know, dude is looking at the daughter all like, you know, why am I messing with the mom? I want the daughter. Like,
Oh God, I
daughter's
feel like
looking back,
it
though.
was ended.
Yeah.
No,
She's hot in the pants.
I feel like it stops right there. That was just
She
that
doing
one
the
scene.
same. She doing the same shit.
Jesus
Mercedes.
Christ, no.
Yeah.
I know
Please,
that's
no.
Thomas Jones. I can't think of his character name, but
Oh,
he used to
yeah.
play football for the Jets.
Yeah, I don't want. No, please leave little girl alone. Okay, sorry, that's my.
But then my question is what is the? If I'm not mistaken, who is Mercedes' sister married to? Was she married to the man that Mercedes got pregnant by? Because didn't she have a man?
She's a sister?
That lady who's
Mercedes was the one
raised-
that's taking care of her daughter.
That's not her
That's
sister. That's the baby father's wife.
That's the person you're asking about. The dad.
Y'all, all this time I thought that was Mercedes' sister.
That's
No,
No.
that's her.
And that's how come she was so appalled when she found out, like, oh my God, you're not my mom, or whatever the little scene was.
Are y'all sure?
So she was raised.
I feel because I thought that the guy was Treese's. I thought that Treese was her. I think that is her sister, y'all. Because Treese is y'all sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's just so interesting to me how they have a relationship. Even, you know what I mean? Like they.
Oh, Patricia
Because he
Woodbine,
brought a daughter into the family.
Patrice
They were
Woodbine,
already
she was a prostitute, right? Or-
Yeah.
But I'm saying her and Mercedes have there's a level of, even outside of whatever, there's a level of closeness between Treese and Mercedes.
Right.
I'm gonna do some research because I feel like that's a
Why did they comment?
You talking about Patrice
Yeah,
Woodbine?
leave it.
no,
Like, help us out. Let
Be
us.
like, my bad, y'all. That was right.
What's the stepmom?
What's her name?
Something with a J.
It was what the
And it's trees or something like that, right?
The one who's raising the little girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know the name.
I'm gonna Google it. Because I think that's her sister. Because I think that's how.
I'm almost 100% sure it's not her sister.
Somebody
I'm 100% sure that
Somebody Google it.
Yeah, so while we go into the next thing,
Yeah,
somebody
I'm gonna be Googling it while y'all gonna ask the next question.
So my next question after we had this conversation is there an overall lesson in the show that everyone in the black community could take away from the show of P-Valley or the series of P-Valley?
Overall lesson.
And if there is an overall lesson, how does that apply to you, or how does it apply to the community?
Well, the season ended with like a 2-week continue, so I don't know the lesson. I'm just joking.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, I'm literally over here.
I feel like P-Valley teaches a lot of lessons. I don't think that there is one overarching one. I think that there are a lot of big ones in it, but I think she teaches a lot of stuff about, like we talked about grace for the parents and stuff, and you know what I mean? Because what's Mercedes' daughter's name? Terica. And like that's a huge one for me. And then like how you and I talked about that aspect of softness when it comes to love, because in the abortion scene with Mercedes, that's when I feel like Mercedes realized like the soft, because she's just always been so hard with Terica, and for her to actually say, to come to like say, oh, I'm gonna come from a place of love when I talk to you, because that's really where all of this comes from.
But I came from her mama. She was doing what her mama told her.
Yeah. So it's a lot. I feel like a lot of lessons. I guess as the queer advocate, the queer visibility and identity, and kind of the realization that queer doesn't look like look like anything. It's just a person that likes whatever, but it doesn't look a certain way. Because I do love I was a diehard, going hard on Twitter with the whole, because everybody in an uproar about the scene with Lil Murder and what's guy and I loved it but I think that I feel like it made people uneasy because it put in their face the reality of queerness. Don't just like I can't label you this just based upon however you behave or however you present. So it makes that reality like, oh, my cousin who is this hood nigga or whoever could be a queer person. Like I loved that. Like
See what that, like, what people on Twitter, it blows my mind. Like for people to think like that's not life. Like you're not gonna go say this stuff to these people's face. If they're gay, they're gay. They do whatever they want. Yeah. But they can still whoop your ass, regardless of Like, what are you talking about? Like, it don't matter who you love or what. That's their business. Like, you're not in the bedroom with these people.
Yeah. But that's the thing I didn't understand is the fact that last season we already knew that they was messing up. So I don't know why it was such a thing.
I think it's because it's more graphic. Because like in the last season, you really just saw Uncle Clifford and Little Murder kissing. And then it's like fade to black, like leave it to the imagination.
Well, not even that. I think that their dynamic is more digestible to the average, to people outside of it, because he's a feminine presenting queer person. These are two masculine presenting queer people. That's why I put it in such an uproar.
As you can see, they commit murder. They can whoop your ass. They're still people. They're still people.
And I'm gonna say I'll be the person to be the devil's advocate / whatever, because I think and I love what you're sharing about this, because for me, raised in the Midwest, being raised by a male who was it was never okay for gay stuff around, and it's just becoming okay. We're all being real. People are being more open, and we live in California, where it's more common for you to see people be open and free in their sexuality, in whatever sexuality that is. Whether you just are women who like having sex, or you just a male who is queer, or for real. Like, I don't care if you judge me for saying I have multiple partners. As long as I ain't passing out diseases, none of your business. And I ain't sleeping with your husband, and I don't sleep with married people. Like, you know what I mean? That's my thing. And it's like, there's different levels, and this is what it did for me, and I think a lesson that we should all take. Number one, we all sinners. Every last one of us, you all fell short of the glory of God. I know it depends on your faith. I'm speaking from a person of faith, and I'm just saying, that's one thing about the black church is they always try to come for the queer community, the gay community. Homosexuality is an easy target, but it's not gonna. You're not gonna talk about your platinum need when you robbing people and taking their money and going buying clothes. But we also not gonna talk about the fact that you're sleeping with half the people in the pews. It's like it's easy for you guys to judge an outside thing that you can see, but you're not talking about what's wrong with the stuff in your heart. So I feel like for me it was hard, as you just said, to see two masculine queer men. I don't even know the term to say it right. Masculine presenting men go have sex, give head, do all of that. Because I was scarred from the ways it was always presented was a man getting raped or a child being raped. The times we ever did see this on television. Shout out to P Valley for not being afraid to bring it in a loving way, a more sensual, consensual way.
That's the way it mostly
But that is. But for people who have experience doing it, it's normal. For those who have never saw it, I'm talking about me. I never saw that before. It caught me really off guard. I was the one who was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. And it was like, I am grateful. I'm being real. Like, I don't like regular sex scenes. I never watch porn. Like, I'm not a person.
That makes sense.
But
because I'm like, I don't get it.
There's some people that are out there. The question was, what's the lesson? This is the lesson.
So this,
right?
Mercedes and what's the other?
Fair. I auditioned for that role. That's what's interesting about the whole thing. So me and one of my friends were the same category for auditions. They send me Farrah's audition. They tell you in there, bye, this could happen. They don't say nothing about what Farrah really gets into. Now see, I wouldn't have been able to do the role, even as much as I want to act. As much as I am an actress. I am working actor all the way. Yeah. But I wouldn't have been able to do that. Had they brought that to me, I would probably had to turn that down because it's not something that I would have been able to portray. Alfonso is incredible. He's sharing a story that is absolutely necessary today because it's happening. I think a man that I was with before, he was with he a hood nigga. I think he was gay, and I say that not because of the sex thing. I say that because I know how he acted toward queer men, and it was like, why are you so mad? But you hang out with one guy that's gay, it don't really make sense. Like that's also your homie. So something's happening. Come to find out, all these things are really going on, and we don't know because you don't be so damn tough. You know what I mean? But it's necessary to start seeing it because hopefully it allows more little murders to come out of the closet because it'll stop diseases from being spread so easily because we're living double lives.
But see, I respect that. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say not even just diseases, but just comfortability. You know what I'm saying? Like there should be no reason why a black male should hide his sexuality just because he wants to go back and forth between women and men. You know what I'm saying? It should be acceptable. It should be embraced. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like maybe today he wants to date a man, tomorrow he wants to date a woman. You know what I'm saying? Then go back, later on in his life. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, relationships don't last forever.
As long as you honest in your relationship.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Trust, honesty is real.
As you get older, you need to express everything. Let them know like what it is.
People cannot do that.
I'm just saying, I disagree. But back to what you were saying, I was saying that I respect that because I felt like, so I'm a bisexual woman, and I didn't see anything wrong with it. No parts. Mercedes, I didn't see anything wrong with Lil Murda. But the part that I had an issue with is that everybody had an issue with Lil Murda and Teak, but nobody had an issue with Mercedes and Farrah.
But queer is okay for women.
Right.
So
That's
a double standard. I mean, it's the same thing as I feel about people calling me a hoe. I get that. I ain't talking about that, but it's about the visual thing, like you just said. We've seen two women being sensual and sexual way more than we've ever saw two men on screen, especially black.
But P Valley did get this from Empire. So, I mean,
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it either.
I mean, I watched Empire. The first season was great.
Yeah, first two seasons.
Yeah, I think I watched Empire.
But I mean, they did get that from Empire. But that opened my eyes. Empire opened my eyes for.
So
so I was like, okay.
Empire was on sex things.
Well, it wasn't
on TV.
Well, it wasn't just a sex scene. It was like Jesse Smollett's. Like he was openly, gay.
It was
I know that part.
Also, Omar in The Wire.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I mean, that was one.
But I didn't watch.
Kinda
I didn't watch that till later on. So.
Omar was, whew.
That's
He
kind
was
of.
rough.
But his character, I mean, he, he's died. But he has always played bisexual or gay
He played that in
in
Lovecraft
Country.
He was that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't watch The Wire, but now I know you're talking about because you said Lovecraft. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, did everybody go around and,
Yeah.
and mention like how like the black community?
Oh
no,
no, lesson.
It was just us two, I think, and then did you go?
No, we just were talking about his subject.
So yeah,
Yeah.
what lesson did you learn from the show, or what do you think? What lesson do you think the
For
black
me, because
community?
I'm an actor, you know, I mean, it teaches me, it showed me what I think I would do and I wouldn't do on camera. I mean, some of that stuff. I mean, you know, I don't know if I can do it. I mean, like play J. Alfonso role.
Right.
I don't know if I can do that. I mean, I will have to. I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, because I am a straight man, so I don't know.
Right.
But I know he's married with children, so I mean, could I do that? It's acting, so I commend him. Maybe I could do it, but I don't know. I mean, that's the lesson I got.
Yeah.
From it, you know.
I guess the lesson would just be family. I like the fact that though they're in this strip club, but it doesn't matter what scene we're watching, it's a family scene. So whether you're watching it with Andre and his wife, family, and Haiti, that's it's like always just, even Corbin and his brother, it's family. So it's showing us as a black community as just being family, and I appreciate that. And sticking together.
Even the pink was
Yes,
Yeah.
friendly. So yeah.
Yeah, that definitely that's definitely a good lesson that any environment that you move through, like you could find family.
You find your village.
So now let's go. I know we like dabbled in the subject, a little bit.
You didn't go, did you?
I'm sorry?
Did you go?
Yeah, that was
She
my
went.
story about
okay.
I think I didn't go because it's like, in terms of a lesson, I think everybody, pretty much mentioned the answer I would give, moving through different environments, and finding your family, and also embracing homosexuality, or, just embracing homosexuality no matter where you go in life. Like, I feel like those two are important lessons for us as a black community. A lot of people have been shaming P-Valley since episode 4 due to the same-sex scene, mostly between Teak and Little Murder. I just saw a few people also shaming it for like overall homosexuality, even with Mercedes and Farrah, but not as much as Teak and Little Murder. So what's your personal opinion about people canceling or publicly announcing that, I'm not going to watch P-Valley anymore just because of these two scenes?
Don't.
Yeah, I'm about to say,
You might not get all night on this group on that.
I feel like that's dumb.
Yeah.
When you first watched the show, you already knew that it was giving gay.
Yeah.
Or queer or whatever. Like, so I don't really understand why now it's like, we're just gonna cancel it.
And then this past episode tell you the story between Teak and Little Murder, where they met in prison, how he felt.
Well, even when they were sitting on the stairs smoking that blunt, they was telling what happened, passing a note and stuff.
So it's like that he loved him.
Yeah,
they loved each other.
Yeah,
And he killed himself too
because
because
he was
of so
heartbroken.
many battles that he was never gonna get to be. So
So I mean, that's
the song.
yeah, but that answer, and I want to say a full complete answer because I'm also with you. Like, and I mean, every person that says stuff about anybody that's on their page talking crazy about what you wearing and you don't have to look here.
Yeah.
And it's the truth of it. It's a simplified answer, but hopefully, as we can share something as we all understand. So it's like at the end of the day. Like, there are people that are going to be different from you. There's certain, sexually, there are things that are going to be different. If you don't like it, obviously you won't do it. And or you won't participate in anything that has to do with that, and that's fine. But what you're not able to do, and I'm saying this like you literally shouldn't and cannot do this, because you're not specific perfect for everybody. I might not like the stuff you be doing. Like, it's not your job to shame like you just described, anybody for what they decided to do with their lifestyle. It's their lifestyle. It's not affecting you. And even if they physically like attack you or something, that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
This is a show that is telling a story that is absolutely necessary because right now, the way things happen, and with the freedoms, the liberties that are becoming when it comes to sexuality, you never know if you're gonna have to be presented with this by somebody that you truly love. Whether they tell you today or tell you 5 years from now, you don't know. And if you were watching things, and this was what I learned, which is why I said what I said, and I addressed it to you, because I appreciate you being real and telling everything like the EITI is. Like, I needed to see this kind of stuff. What if my child come to me and, you know, I'm a hood nigga too. So, like, so what I wasn't raised for real. I had brothers. My daddy wouldn't have been receiving, I don't believe. Maybe, but maybe not. We never saw that. We had 2 guys that were gay when I grew up, and they was real niggas. Like, they'll fight, like you said, they was beating people up, but they just were gay and they didn't care, and it wasn't common. It just wasn't. And so I appreciate the storytelling process. I appreciate that I am in love with Uncle Clifford and Lil Murder, and I was like a rom-com, like I normally love rom-coms, but at the end of this 10th season, of this 10th episode, I was so happy that he was brave enough to come out and just be like, hi, this is my person, you know, I love you. It just made me happy, and I was like, it's love. Let people love who they gonna love. It's hard as hell to get love.
He did that?
Because he didn't want to be in the closet no more. I think he was tired of what happened with T.
Absolutely. It was like, he said, you know, because that was heartbreaking for him, and he ended up killing somebody over that. Right. So, I mean, it's
it was a chain reaction for that.
And it's just, you know.
It's true.
You get tired. Get tired of just staying in the closet and saying, I'm not.
So, I mean, for people out there, I feel bad for them to be hiding like that. You know, just, the world is not.
That's what I'm happy for. I'm happy for our generation and the ones after, because it's like, I feel like our kids and our kids are going to be able to exist in a world where, like, the whole the utopia is, in my opinion, the world where the whole coming out situation is not even a thing. Yeah, because I think, what was that Taraji said, that is a very jarring experience, and it is something that takes a lot of courage from a person that is a queer person, especially one that can hide it. That, you know what I mean, it's a big thing. So I'm excited for our generation and the people and the kids that's coming after us, because
I don't get the point of I don't get the point of like, why don't you want to make somebody feel bad? Like, what are you doing? Like, I just don't get what your satisfaction is.
I had to bring politics into this, but now they about to attack that.
Interracial
and that's another point of what we brought up voting. Like, this is why you have to vote and understand politicians, because this is, you know, why would I care who you love or who you love or who you, that's none of my business, or who you sleeping with. Like, that's none of my business. Like, why are these people are so concerned?
My man up, then I hurt you.
Well, here's you know, I was speaking to an older family member, and you know, we went through like different shows that also show like queer or homosexuality representation, and it's like we noticed that, you know, no matter what race, no matter what show, like there is representation at this point in time. You know, like in a lot more shows than, you know, like 10 years ago, even 15 years ago. Like, there's a lot more representation now. So me and this older family member were having this conversation, and then, you know, they had a problem with, you know, the representation of P Valley. Okay, so I'll put out the statement that the family member said. Like, they said they had a problem with black males being represented this way, you know.
But this is black males. That's the problem.
Yes.
This is real. Like, what are you talking about? So they're not able to be represented?
That's why.
I guess
because, you know, I think that it's like the history of quote unquote, the history of emasculating black men, and I think that the world views a man being a queer person as being something that is emasculating.
You can't emasculate me.
Exactly.
So
And
that's what I'm saying.
exactly.
Like, I'm a straight male. You can't emasculate.
You can't.
me.
Yeah. I'm a queer male, and you can't emasculate me because you don't define my masculinity. You don't define my identity. I always be telling everybody, to me, it's more emasculating to let this other man tell me how I get to be just so you can accept me.
That's
You.
good right there.
Who are you?
That's
To tell me
good.
who I get to be. I feel like that's more emasculating than
That's
anything
good.
else.
That's good.
You know what I mean?
So let me ask you guys this: from your perspective, what are some of the things that you did not like about P-Valley?
This season, all the mysterious like flashbacks. I was like, it's a lot. They didn't do that in the first.
You know they did do a lot of flashbacks.
They
Like, I mean, like
We need
flashback
to
like ghosts or something like that. Like they didn't really do
Those
that.
chains like they do on them shows.
Then that I can agree with. Like this, the floor and all of that.
Yeah, they didn't
We
do all.
didn't
They didn't do all that last season. So.
Mm.
Yeah. The only thing that bothered me is the voodoo scene with
Diamond.
Diamond and
Diamond.
Mercedes. Like
Did
I
they ever
think
say
we
who
do
put
not.
that root on her? Did they ever say that?
I don't know that there was a root. I think that it was like they tried to just basically imply that something like was in her, a spirit, like you know how people be possessed with things. And I think that's what he was doing, is just showing that he had the power to withdraw something like that from
To
you.
go back to it,
Which
also,
you didn't make sense.
I mean, it is Mississippi, so I don't know if that's something they do down there.
Or like
Yeah.
that's what they say.
Voodoo
You
are
feel somebody
very strong in the South.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, it could be that, but I didn't understand like all. I mean, they didn't really show that in the first season, so that's why it kind of.
You know what? They didn't. I felt like this season we saw more of Diamond doing all of that, and I did not see that first season.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand it either. Because
Right.
even when he did that, and it's like, whatever, her shoulder was still hurting.
Right.
So,
But I think that it was healing from whatever was, but it wasn't, because it was definitely something there.
Right.
So but I don't know. I think what we did. I think that maybe they should show more because we got to know more of Diamond in this season.
I think we got to know a lot more of everybody.
Yeah.
Like this was like backstory season.
Yeah.
But the Mississippi story in high school was. I was like, it was so captivating. Like I was like, oh man, this
You know we did.
like that was a great episode.
We saw what made everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I'm okay with when they go back, because I really don't like the flashback episode. No show, I don't like it. That's just my preference. I don't like those things. I did like how they did that one, and because it was realistic. Because what I know is some of this people it don't match. Like you know, get a younger person to play the person in. Don't try to do that. And they look 50. You know what I mean? Like, don't do that. That's for me as an artist and as a creator. I don't like when it's like
and that diner, like, come on now.
and the mom got that. I said, she's been 50, 60, 16. Yeah. Cool. And grandma is a baby. They just put her hair on the baby. That was one thing I did not like. And another thing I really did like, and I know this is me being a very nitpicking actor / person, but because so many people worked so hard to make it all right, I didn't like that there were so many people that, I don't say which actors, some people that didn't keep their accents, they was dropping their accents sometimes. It was like that, because that's why Miss Mississippi to me was one of my favorite characters in more ways than one. She kicked ass on this show, number one, but she stuck it out. She was consistent, even though they jumped from 2 years, because we know they couldn't record. Her and Uncle Clifford and Lil Murder, like they were the same people. We just see their truth. They're very talented.
Yeah.
And it was like I was frustrated with some of them. But even talking with an accent, you came back with some accent
I heard
from
the
Louisiana.
British accent.
Autumn.
Autumn. Yeah.
I was
That's a
like,
real accent.
Yeah, I know that.
That's
I heard the British
but that's
accent.
what
she's
I mean.
British.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
Tell me something.
I saw her
She
too.
was casted from
restaurant.
United Kingdom. Yeah.
I know that.
And those people normally, they be coming over here shutting
They do.
down. Shout out to Franklin Saint. But it was like, for real. He
I love me some Franklin.
insane. And I'm like, that was frustrating.
His real name Hanson.
I like Franklin.
I call it Franklin. I don't even know.
Franklin.
It was nice, but we chased him down. But yeah, anyway.
Do you think, who do you think has the more complex story, Mercedes or Mississippi, or the most not complex, but the more the story that draws the viewer in the most, like more sympathy from the audience?
I don't feel sorry for Mercedes for
First season Mercedes, it was the sympathy for her mom stealing her money.
Oh, I forgot about her getting
That
beat up
was-
by her mom.
And then second season, I think it's more Mississippi and stuff. And where she's at now.
Yeah.
For me, it's always gonna be Mississippi. It just
Really?
is.
And
I
then
don't.
autumn, it's just.
I don't think it's comparable, to be
And
honest,
I also
because they
sympathy for Lil Murder.
yeah.
I felt
I
more
like sympathy
compassion
for
for
all.
him than a lot. Because I just feel bad that he was having to hide stuff and and your success, and it's like the other thing. This is kind of different, but he's so good. It's like if y'all don't know,
He went out
like
the
you gonna
window
stop
when he
listening
killed that
to
dude. When he shot him.
That's what you're
I think that's
I was angry with him about that because he didn't need to do that.
That was just too much.
He didn't need to do that.
Just don't say a little murder, but that
Yeah.
just.
And
But
that's
he's
not
saying
making me look
he's saying
bad.
that he did it. So
Yeah,
you
you
had
be
to-
careful what you
you had
say.
to-
Oh, he owned it?
He did. He was on
stage.
stage.
Yeah, seven
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you
So
were
he
hurt.
had-
I didn't see that. But I'm saying.
Well, you know what? 7 pounds of pressure was already recorded before he shot
Yeah,
that dude.
But he tried to imply that.
Yeah,
he-
right. He killed it.
Right.
So you asked for that, in
Right.
my opinion.
He
The
did.
streets move like that.
That's
So
right.
I wish more people got for the stuff that they did, because if you kill somebody else that didn't do something to you, then somebody gonna come back and kill you. You live by the gun, you die by the gun. You know where you from, that's how it goes. There's niggas that don't do nothing. Sorry, niggas. There's people who don't do nothing that get killed, you know, RIP to those people, because that frustrates me. So in this case, there was a person that had his back. I mean, that was his love of his life. So at the end of the day, he was already a murderer. Nigga, he was gonna come and get this nigga. Like, that's what was gonna happen. And your pleading and all that shit didn't mean nothing, because you didn't care about who he left behind. And that's why you just get out of it if you don't want to get taken like that.
Plus,
And
y'all
I
didn't
didn't
have
have
your homies in it and saying like, oh, he's walking around. You got to say
Y'all
something.
laughed.
You
I
gotta
thought it
handle
was
that.
funny. I made
Yeah.
videos. I mean,
Please.
what you think was gonna happen? I'm
He had
sad
to
because
handle
in reality, if we keep it 100,
Not both of us
then
agree.
murder is gonna
The women agree.
which is why I'm very curious.
That's why
about
I was really because I did not want him to kill that guy. I was so disappointed. I guess because it's like the trajectory of his life was so up, and it's like you gonna go back to
I felt like that
For
was
this?
supposed to be next. That's for those moments as a writer, and you just have to. That's what would have been next. It was like in that level, just like T killing himself. It's like those moments of like their climax moments where it's like this could be or that could be, and he chose to be like Rod. You know, he chose the street life.
His name is Lil Murder, and we have not seen a murder, and now we still
That's
one.
true.
So now it's like
The
it
rap
has
game
to
is
be
not
realistic.
reality.
But that point, that's not the point. The point
In
is he
some
still has
hoods
to
it
stay,
is.
especially down in the South. You have to stay true to who you are, and that's what he did. I ain't seen him do no craziness since first season, and now we saw
He got that life. That is realistic. Was that realistic? How it? Okay, anyway, I won't get that.
No, of course it
I
was.
just hated it. I wanted him to be. I wanted him to get. I wanted.
I just wanted him to
wanted
be
him
out.
You wanted him to be
And I
out.
wanted the life lessons that he had learned up to that point to
Survive.
make him better. Yeah, like that disappointed me. I agree.
You're sad
I
at
don't think
him.
he should have did it, but he did it. Like,
Yeah, he shouldn't have done it. Somebody else should have.
Yeah, I mean, because he's on a different.
Yeah, I would have been more. I would have felt more, cool if Wody would have did it. Then,
Okay.
But Roddy already killed somebody. We don't need him to be Little Murder.
Yeah,
We
but
need Lil Murder
But
to
he
be
a little
Little
more
Murder.
filthy. He's
Yeah.
smarter with his killing.
Yeah, and
But
then
but even when he killed them, nobody saw him.
nobody
yeah, see,
saw him,
from
but
It's still a messy situation. If they were
Everybody
able
know
to,
he
if them
did.
hood niggas was able to identify that, since y'all said, like, then we know eventually the police gonna be able to identify that you killed this nigga.
well, they don't care about who I
police
said
don't
in the
care
hood.
about it.
That's what I got to bring up.
Police don't care about
I
it.
hate to go this far back into history of black cinema, but if you look at movies like really great movies, like Boys in the Hood, like a real hood nigga is gonna go kill a nigga that killed somebody that they love.
Yep.
Ice Cube said it perfectly. He did it just right. I was mad. Still watched it the other day, pissed off. That you went up and he was taking all day. They're like, nigga, come on for me, get on.
Yeah.
But it was personal. And it's like, that's personal.
Turn your punk ass around.
Yeah. Why you sound just like it was personal. He had to do that. And then 2 weeks later, as you saw in the caption, he was killed. Although that's fake. But that's what happens.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be real. Like the murder rates wouldn't be what they were if niggas wasn't really doing stuff like that. And I'm not condoning black men murder, but I hate that we do this to each other.
But it's a reality.
This is the real thing. And if we're asking for this story to be so great, in my opinion, then they he had to pull the trigger. He had to pull the trigger. He was the leader of the clique.
I didn't want it for him.
I think
be a rapper.
it does.
Yeah.
It's
Like these other fake
show-
niggas is rapping and telling you to kill people, but they ain't never pulled the trigger. Oh, yes, I get it.
But it
That's
also,
what we're
because they did call them faggots, all that stuff. It does show him a different level of, of what he's capable of too. So I mean, that's another thing that people in reality gotta understand. Like you can't be out here messing with people that you don't agree with just because of their sexuality.
Right.
It will work your ass.
Yep. So watch your mouth.
mind your business.
Okay.
You can do that too.
Okay, because that's free.
So the last question, 2-part question. You have a choice to answer one or the other.
Okay.
What makes P-Valley vital to the black community, or just give me your last thoughts on P-Valley, or just both?
I would say the visibility it creates, like in that, like I'm gonna keep harping on it, but yeah, just the queer visibility. Like the shit is real, and everybody, any person, there, you can't label it. So, and I feel like we needed this visibility, because we hadn't gotten it to this degree, and we needed it. I feel like we really did. So
I feel like still visibility, but in a different aspect, more so just within like the South. I feel like with a lot of shows we see LA, we see in New York, maybe even Atlanta, but to show like, okay, we're not just here, we're here too. And
I didn't even know I heard of Chuck E. Cheese.
yeah, because what is that?
is it real?
It's a
real
Oh,
okay.
Mississippi, right below Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
So
I
it's a
think
real place.
they mentioned like Memphis is like 20 miles up the road.
Okay, they do say
So
that.
Okay.
just to show, and but yeah, it's just to show
Yeah, I like
other
that.
parts of the South.
Yeah, I think what's vital, and again, like you, I'm probably gonna harp on it again. Just domestic violence awareness. I think we forgot about that, and I don't mean to say it like nobody does stuff for it, but I think it has been kind of shoved away. Because back in the day, Lifetime would make movies, and that's where I learned Burn the Bed, stuff like that. Argentina. Those were the only things I ever saw that were like, oh, domestic violence is a thing for real, or the people you heard next door that was, and then she wake up with a black eye, and that shit's sad. And it's like, this is happening so much. The movie that you saw me in, that's based on a real story. Like somebody really died behind a man who had a problem, who was abusive. The signs were there. People overlooked him. She was young. He killed himself. He killed her. And that's somebody that was my friend's like best friend. So it's like, it's happening every day. I don't know, and I'm not trying to go so dark, but I need it to be said because I think the awareness and also the execution, because we're aware. Like if she's something to say something, I don't like snitching on certain things, but like a woman being abused or a male being abused by their partner for no reason. It's not a mutual fight. Like you just whooping somebody up. That's not cool. And like if there's a way you can help, whether you're donating to domestic violence awareness programs or if you're the person who can help somebody get away, do just that, because it can lead to death. It just is what it is. And I really appreciate that they're showing somebody that's so perfect on the outside. They look, this beautiful woman can be going through something like that, and they have children who are being abused at home. And that kind of stuff is it's just like, it sticks in my head because there's so many cases that we just completely overlook. This guy went viral because he told everybody he's about to kill his kids, and then he really killed his kids and killed himself. And like the kids are crying in the back. I just saw that last night. My mom was showing me, and I'm like, what is happening? And it's like, these people show you signs of them being this way. We gotta hold people accountable. Get them help or get their asses locked up. I don't know. Put them in the straitjacket. I don't know what it's gonna be. But let's just begin to do that thing again and not be so caught up in who's having sex with who.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the thing too that we don't see that maybe is a story that we need to start seeing more because it happens a lot. We don't never get to see the stories of, because women be whooping niggas' asses.
That's why I said male or female.
They do that, and that's a lot. Not saying it's a lot more common, but it kind of is. Girls be just hitting on niggas all the time, but we don't label that as abuse.
It is
when it is like, you know what I mean? Like when we have that lady,
situation. That's not familiar with.
Like, and didn't that guy that girl that was abusing him that. It was a black guy and a white woman, and she killed him. Oh, okay. Yeah, like that type of shit happens a lot, and I think that's a story that needs to be told.
Absolutely. I mean, that's
I remember
for those creators.
part of the questions.
You know, we're caveat. Okay.
What makes P-Valley vital to the black community, or what are just your overall opinion on the season?
Well, for me, I think it just gives everybody somebody they can relate to, from Clifford and you know, and Lil Murda, Mississippi, Autumn, Mercedes, everybody. It gives her daughter, you know what I mean? Like, you know, teens out here having sex, you know, they have kids, you know, abortion situation, what we dealing with right now, and you know, just different stuff in the black community. You know, it just. From voting, you know, from the pandemic, we came out the pandemic, you know, a lot of people died. This is so, I mean, everything, you know, it just gives everybody something they possibly can relate to, but you know what I mean, which also is happening in the South, but we're learning about the South, what's happening down in the South. So, yeah, I mean, them buying land and casinos, you know, like that happens. A lot of people get put out their homes and stuff like that. I mean, it didn't happen on there, but I mean, it's a situation that can happen. And overall for the season, it's just, I mean, it was a good season other than, you know, all that voodoo stuff. I didn't understand because we didn't do it in the first season, but other than that, I mean, I can't wait to see this next season.
I hope I'm part of next season too.
I would say that, but now I'm nervous to get that.
Just give me one.
So for me, like, why I feel like, you know, P-Valley is vital. Going back to Uncle Clifford, like Uncle Clifford seemed as if she was like wise beyond her years. You know, sharing wisdom with every single body, every single person, whether it was Corbin, you know, who's like, you know, trying to go into politics and, you know, struggling with being biracial, you know, or multiple things, because Corbin was a little bit of everything, because he liked to get, you know,
that's probably what I surprised.
It did on the first season though.
I thought he got beat by, like, because he was, okay.
Well, he was beat by the strippers, but this season he was beat by Uncle Clifford. Right. So that shows like he was interested.
Wait. I didn't see that.
But see,
Okay.
But see, this was the thing. It's not the fact that he got beat. It's the fact that the conversation that they had was as if this was not their first time.
Right.
Together.
Right.
That's the part I was like.
Probably would.
Yeah, I mean, I think he probably, you know.
Him and Uncle Clifford had like not
So they didn't know each other since they
But like,
yeah.
So it showed like Corbin was a little bit of everything. You know, politics. You know, scandalous. You know, like fluid. You know, he showed like, you know, all like multiple sides of himself. And also, like I said, going back to Uncle Clifford, like being, you know, being the one who can advise everyone, and you wouldn't know this from somebody who was, you know, being raised by, you know, two women, you know, and also the fact that, you know, Uncle Clifford was, you know, drag or trans, a person of trans experience. You know what I'm saying? You know, like people like look at these masks that we hold, and it's like, oh, they might not know this or might not know that, but really and truly, they're very experienced in all, facets of life. And it's like, it's important to show, and I think that's the important part, is just like, never judge a book by its cover. And I think that Uncle Clifford even said that during the season. Another part that I think is vital is how different aspects of the community interlock. The lawyer who's going in and out of the strip club could be your most important factor in the community, as well as like how politics could affect a small strip club that's just taking decompressing people throughout their day. You know what I'm saying? Like how different parts of the community all interlock, and how our decisions are so important to or are important because they affect other people's lives. You know what I'm saying? So I think those are the different important factors of P-Valley.
I got a question. What do everybody think about the guests that they had in the season? The money reside guy. I don't know his name.
Oh yeah, he was at Clifford's party.
That was funny because then the mom, Patricia, she did it in her little commercial. I just thought that was so funny.
I liked it.
You liked it?
I did, because I felt like, one, it gave other actors opportunities to act, but then also just showcasing people that we know.
And then also they have more of Clifford friends too, which was
one of my friends was one of the trans girls that was.
Yeah.
I thought that was good.
Yeah, she was in T-Saw with us.
Was she?
Yeah. Yeah, she was in T-Saw with us.
Okay.
We went to high school together.
I thought that was cool. I mean, have Clifford friends and
Right.
show him partying out there and stuff.
You know what? Since you brought that up, it just made me think of who else I really loved that I wish they kind of would have did a little more with too. But they did enough, but I could have appreciated more. Roulette. Wanda.
Oh yeah.
Wanda.
I love
She
Roulette.
killed it so well. She came from Wanda.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, that too. But
Is
I
she a
mean,
pimp?
she's a very great actor.
I don't think that I think that in that moment.
Well, you gotta watch the
She
last.
slowly
I see.
became a
Yeah.
pimp.
Okay.
Because now she's at the last episode, she's now going to be the pimp towards Uncle Clifford's friend.
She was like, she killed it. Now, when I talk about coming in and having an accent down, having a storyline, knowing how to keep us engaged, she did she was incredible.
We'll
And
probably
that's
see
who
more
else I
before
forgot.
next season.
Oh, yeah, for
It's gonna
sure.
blow up. Yeah, her
For
story's
sure.
gonna get bigger.
Oh God,
But
yeah.
everything she do is good.
I know, that's what I'm just saying. That's my point.
her, she's
Like,
real good.
That second season of Snowfall when she was a crackhead, man.
So well-rounded, she came in and kicked the door down.
Yeah.
Like, she's
It
killed
was
it.
like she really had her hepatitis or some shit.
She did everything. Her full transformation though, even on Snowfall, she's doing everything well.
And if you see her off camera, she's a very spiritual.
Yeah, I see that on her
Christian
page. 'Cause I
person.
went and
It's
looked it
like,
up. And I was like,
it's-
let me go see. I be doing that when I like Alfonso. That's how I knew he was married. Cause I don't normally get online and look at people, but the ones I'm like, they killing this. This is it. They're the truth. Both of them, all of them. Those.
So I just want to thank everyone for dropping their opinions on P-Valley. I thank you for coming through, voicing your arguments upon the Black community and how P-Valley is, very instrumental in growth, and also showing how all of our stories in the Black community, I think is very important. So I want to thank you all again for coming, and I want to thank everybody for watching, and hopefully we'll have another interesting topic for you on Reel, Raw, and Relatable.
Good guys. This is fun, y'all. You guys are great.
I'm hungry now.